Hello, my name is Robson House. I'm here representing Robbo Inc. I'm going to show a presentation on how many areas of the production process can interrelate to stage your production. I will look at pros and cons of each area and analyse how to get the best service. There are many things that go in. There are many things that go into production. These are just not all the elements. These are just some of the basic needs, and I think these are the most essential, such as actors, venue, music, costume, and much more. The show is called Drama Baby, written by Jamie Brisson. The show is set in the 90s and has many references to this, such as costume and music. There are 8 main roles, 4 male and 4 female. Audience is 14 and up. There are scenes of an adult nature. We're looking for a March-April show. The show is roughly 50 minutes long, therefore we can't charge a lot of money for the tickets. The audience don't want to pay £30 for a 50-minute show. There are many venues around Bristol that are many on the presentation there, and these are just some of the ones in Bristol. We're looking for a decent sized space that the actors can use. I did discount some of these, such as the Hippodrome, which has a large space but has big shows there, and we are a small show. And they have big West End show musicals, for example, such as Wicked, which is on up there at the moment, and our 50-minute show wouldn't actually work there very well. Plus, we wouldn't be able to fill all the seats there as well. I don't think a 50-minute show would do very well at that location. I also had to discount the Redgrave because that is an amateur and student theatre, as it's there with the Clifton College. I also discounted the Alma Theatre for quite a few reasons. One, it only has 48 seats, and I would have to charge a higher price for that. Plus, the staging is in the round, and the staging for the show wouldn't work in the round. It would rather work in the proscenium and the thrust. So I firstly looked at the Bristol Old Vic, which is a popular theatre in Bristol and very well known. There's a large versatile space, and that's one of the things you kind of look for. There are 2 spaces for performing in. You have the loft space and the main space. The loft space, the studio space has 130 capacity, as the main space has 540. The tickets will sell easily because it's a very well-known space and very well-known theatre. The professional shows aren't very big like they do at the Hippodrome, and they mostly do Bristol-based projects. The studio space is intimate and it would fill up easily, and it would have a nice, good atmosphere in there. The next one I looked at was the Tobacco Factory. This also has 2 spaces available, but not as big as the Old Vic. It has a large space which is flexible to what we need it for both spaces, and they both have a studio for use. Unlike the Old Vic, the Tobacco Factory has their own technicians, which could save us quite a lot of money, because they know what they're doing there and they supply their own equipment. Therefore, they can use their equipment as most effectively as possible for the show. The Tobacco Factory is very well known and has a thrust stage which will work well for the show. However, the location is a lot further out than most other theatres, therefore the audience have to really get out of their way to go to the Tobacco Factory. The next venue is the Wardrobe Theatre. The space is a lot smaller than the previous 2. There is a fully equipped lighting and sound. The good thing is there is no hire cost. They run off the box office. They make £5 for every ticket sold. They do have their own technicians as well, which is £75 a night. It is a very new theatre, however, which means that it's not very well known. And however, it is right next to Bristol University, so the students will know about it, and that's where our kind of target audience is. It is a small space, but we can use that to our advantage for the atmosphere. I have chosen the Wardrobe Theatre because it may be a small space, but we could fill it up very easily. And the advantage is the actors can really use that space and make an atmosphere of the backstage, as it is in the show. They have a backstage area, and the audience can feel like they're actually backstage watching them. The paying for the theatre for hire is very easy. They make £5 off each ticket, and this will emphasise for both company and theatre to sell tickets. and the Wardrobe Theatre also advertise the show on their website. Casting agencies. A casting agency is a section of the industry where actors can be found. This is good because we actually know where to find some actors. I looked at acting agencies. We can't have a show without any actors. We're looking for 16 young actors, 8 will play the main roles, 4 male, 4 female, aged between 17 and 21, because we want our actors to actually look like students. I firstly looked at the Phoenix Casting Agency. However, they only have a handful of actors who do stage acting. Room 3 Agency, however, specialises in TV and film, and sadly had to be discounted. Thus, they only have a handful of stage actors, and the fact they are quite unreliable because they didn't really get back to me. I looked at Southwest Artists, because it's quite handy because they are actually based in Bristol, and so are their actors. The actors will cost £50 an hour or £200 a day. This is quite expensive, however. They actually ask for £75 for their services, which I find quite reasonable. They do actually seem very reliable because they got back to me very quickly and they seem willing to help. I looked at Equity. I looked at Equity. Equity is a UK trade union for professional actors and respected nationally. This is very important because Equity makes sure everything is good and legal and protects the show and its actors. Costume suppliers. Costume is very important to any show. We want our actors to look like their characters or from that time period, such as the 90s. We are looking for 90s style clothing for the actors, also 12 half masks and cloaks for the first scene. These are some of the suppliers now. Delphine's had to be discounted because they specialise in wigs and makeup and not costumes. I then looked at Bristol Costume Services. They provide unique contemporary costumes and services for hire, including 90s style clothing. Prices start at £40 plus VAT for costumes per week. They have plenty of experience, they have done plenty of shows like this before, and they are based in Bristol, therefore we can get the costumes very easily for transport. I then looked at the National Theatre. They have over 60,000 costumes, including 90s clothing, cloaks and half masks. Each costume is created with high skill and attention to detail. It is £70 for a week's hire plus VAT. And the good thing is, if you have it for another second week, you have 50% off the original price. If you have it for a third week, you have it for 25% off the original price. So as long as we have the costumes, the price will reduce slowly. We also need a range of props, such as 12 knives are needed for the first scene. I looked at Claire Jane, National Theatre and Themeworks. Claire Jane had wooden knives and potentially could be dropped because they would be quite heavy, and they were £80. National Theatre had plastic but realistic knives for £75. Themeworks, apologies. Themeworks are steel knives which can be dangerous and if used incorrectly. We don't want our actors being harmed, and they are £75 for a week's hire. I have chosen the National Theatre for both costume and props because they are handmade pieces and also safe to use for the actors. We will sadly have to pick them up from London, but as long as we have good transport, we can get it all in one trip. Another good thing is that we can hire them very cheaply, and the knives will be £75 a week for the 12 knives we need. I then looked at transport. Transport is always good in any show, because we need transport for actors if the show is going on tour, props and costume. We need quite a lot of transport. In this show, we only need transport for 4 days for props and costume. I firstly looked at UDrive. For a Ford Transit van, which is a good sized van, in my opinion, would be £122.65. That's with VAT. I then looked at Northgate. For the same van, it would cost £167.80, including VAT, which is much more than UDrive. Enterprise for a Ford Transit would cost £134 plus 68. That's VAT included. I go to Enterprise because firstly, it's one of the cheapest ones. Plus, you get more included. You get collision damage, so who won't be charged for anything, for a scratch, for example, and they will drop the car off to you. The driver must be over 20 years old and have 2 years experience. And there are many enterprise depots over Bristol, so you can easily get one. Publicity. We can't get any audience without any publicity. We can't really promote the show otherwise. Firstly, the Wardrobe Theatre would put it on their website. For flyers and posters, I looked at stupid. For 500 flyers, it would cost under £50 with colour. Posters glossed with colour are £181.25 for 250 posters, and they will be placed over Bristol. Now, radio. Radio can be expensive at times. For a local station, it will cost £500. For a regional station, it will cost £2,500. Therefore, we can actually get across if our audience haven't seen the posters or go onto the Wardrobe website. So, in summary, we'll be using the Wardrobe Theatre, using Southwest Artists Agencies, the National Theatre for Props and Costumes, Enterprise for Transport, and Stupid for adverts. All of the elements of the production would cost £3,510.93. To break even on each night, each ticket would cost £750. To make profit, I advise we sell between £10 and £15. If we do this, we would have to have the show for 9 days and make £375 on each night just to break even. Thank you for watching my presentation.